Welcome you to my class on Prufrock. I explained up to the line to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. I want to recap some of the aspects of this poem. We are reading the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. And in the previous two classes, I discussed that Prufrock is a modern man and he can't take decision. He is not an active person, and he is always hesitant. He procrastinates, and he is a representative of modern human beings. He is an archetypal modern man. That means if you look at Prufrock, you will get the exact picture of a modern person. And he is alienated, and he is pessimistic, and he also suffers from existentialist crisis. And since he hesitates, that's why we can't say that he's an active person. He's basically a passive person. And I also explained in the previous two classes that this poem is basically an interior monologue in which a person talks to himself. So in this poem, Prufrock is basically talking to himself, though some critics say that let us go, then you and I, this you is a male person, and Prufrock is one person and he is speaking to a male person. But others say that Prufrock is mainly talking to himself. So it's an interior monologue, they say. So you can look at it from 2 points of views, and I have also explained, I am also trying to mean that this can be an internal action, I mean psychological action, which is going on in this poem. So there is stream of consciousness technique that has been used in this poem, and obviously interior monologue technique has also been used in this poem. And in the previous class, I discussed to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. Up to this line, I explained in the previous class. And what I said about this line is very important. Regarding this line, I said that we human beings in modern time, we need to pretend, we need to play the game of the society. We cannot express our emotions, we cannot express our desires, and we cannot even say what we feel. So we have to pretend. And we basically prepare our faces, that means our faces that we maintain. This face is not the original face. This is an artificial face that we maintain. That means our relationship with people is artificial, and the face we maintain is also artificial. And we adopt an artificial face in order to satisfy people around us. We are simply acting, and we are hiding our real intention. Our original self is being suppressed by the artificial self that we create. And why do we create this self? Because people basically love this self. And unless you create an artificial self, it's very difficult to exist and survive in this world. So that's why we create this artificial self. And that is why Prufrock says that we need to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. There will be time to murder and create. You know, two words have been just juxtaposed. Murder is to kill someone, and create, is to form something, is to create something. So these two words go against each other. So why does Prufrock say that there will be time to murder and create? You know that action is very important. Prufrock is a passive man, and he is trying earnestly to make something happen in this world, to do something. Let it be murder, or let it be to create something, whatever it is, but he needs to act. And that's why he is saying that there will be time in future. He a little bit hopeful about the future. It seems so, but we know that it's not at all about anything called hope. He says that there will be time to murder and create. So, two opposite words, as I said earlier, juxtaposed, and one is enhancing the meaning of another. And He will either murder or he will create. Whatever it is, it's very important for his life because he has so far in his life been unable to make anything happen, to do anything, to act anything. So action is very important. That's why he thinks that in future he will get an opportunity to do something, to act something, whether it is murdering someone or it's creating something. And time for for all the works and days of hands. He also believes that he will get time for the jobs to accomplish in future. That lift and drop a question on your plate, time for you and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions and for 100 visions and revisions before the taking of a toast and tea. Beautiful lines. Now, he also says, Prufrock also says that he will have time in future to accomplish works. Again, telling you that he wants to act, he wishes to act something in future. He laments that he cannot make anything happen. But we all know that he is that kind of person who is thinking that he may make things happen in future, but basically he will not be able to do that. He will still remain an inactive person in future. And time for you and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions. And look at the line. Prufrock says that I will get time and you will also get time, and time yet for 100 indecisions. And he says that he will get sufficient time for indecisions. He is not saying decisions. So he is not that much optimistic and he is not that much confident as well. And his lack of confidence is expressed through the phrase 100 indecisions. If he was confident, then he would not use the word indecision. So, what he is waiting for? He is waiting for the future. And what will he do in future? In future, he will get sufficient time to think about indecisions, not to think about decision. Prufrock is a person who can never take concrete decision, who is always who is always unsure about himself, who is not he is not that type of person who is confident and who can who has got the ability to work deliberately. So deliberate action is completely absent in his character. You can ask that why deliberate action is absent in his character, because he is a modern man. Modern human beings, they are basically passive in the sense that they cannot make things happen. And the modern writers and the modern poets, I said earlier, I explained that they focus on the psychological state of human mind because for them, the inner state of mind is more important than the external action. And that's exactly what we are observing here, that T.S. Eliot is trying to explore the psychological state of Prufrock's mind, that Prufrock is suffering from indecision, he is suffering from existentialist crisis, he is suffering from the problem that he cannot adjust with the society. He says that people have to pretend if they want to survive in this world because they have to prepare their face so that other people become satisfied looking at them. And for 100 visions and revisions, in this line again we see the two words again, visions and revisions. What is visions? He says that there will be time to dream, but then, just after uttering the word, he again makes a kind of correction of the word visions and says revisions. So, what does revision mean? Revision means that he will revise his decision, he will revise his vision. So, again, we see that concrete vision he doesn't expect. He thinks that the vision will be also momentary, it is not something permanent. And he will again he has to revise his visions as well. So what kind of vision he expects to have in future? This vision is not permanent, and he has to revise it. So again we see the presence of indecision before the taking of a toast and tea. So before taking toast and tea, he says that in future he will get some time. Now you know that Prufrock has used the word time several times over here. So what is the significance of his use of the word time? Probably Prufrock is trying to use, or he is using this word because Prufrock, he thinks that time will have a kind of speed in future, but we know that whether time will have or gain any speed in future or not. In the next two lines, when we read these lines, in the room the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. So the kind of speed that time gained in this stanza that we just explained, the word time has been used repeatedly. I said, as if Prufrock is waiting for good days, Prufrock is waiting for future, Prufrock is waiting for time to work, and he hopes that time will work in favor of him. But moments later, we see that time again stagnates, and the pace of time is again hindered and impeded. And that's why these two lines again brings us back to reality that Prufrock will probably not have time in future, and his expectation of having time in future is again hindered by the presence of these two lines, where we see in the room the women come and go and talking of Michelangelo. I explained it earlier that this sometimes makes these two lines make us feel that well, it's the real world, and well, the people are so artificial, that women, they are also artificial, they are also mechanical, and they pretend that they have huge knowledge about art and culture and paintings, and that's why they talk of Michelangelo. But basically, they don't have that much knowledge about painting. It's a kind of pretension, and it's again this the significance of these two lines is again to bring us back to reality, or to make us informed that Prufrock is becoming a person who is getting involved to his own self. So these two lines just bring us back to reality. Now let's again go to the next stanza. In this stanza, what we see again, Prufrock goes to his own self, and he becomes again alienated to himself. And he says, and indeed there will be time, the word time again comes. So there is an expectation in Prufrock that in future he will have good time. But I am telling you repeatedly that this expectation is not going to be fulfilled. There is no chance. And that is the problem with the modern human beings. That is the problem with modernism, that there will be expectation, but this expectation will never be fulfilled. Prufrock is an alienated person. He is a lonely person. He is a pessimistic person. He doesn't have any friend in this world. He suffers from existentialist crisis. He cannot take decision properly, and he cannot even dream properly. And he is an archetypal modern man. That means he is a representative of modern human beings. And over here, what we see, and indeed there will be time to wonder, do I dare and do I dare? What's the meaning of the phrase do I dare, or sentence do I dare? It means that Prufrock doesn't possess the courage. So he is not a courageous person. He is an anti-hero, I explained earlier. An anti-hero is a person who doesn't possess the qualities of a traditional hero. A traditional hero possesses many qualities. A traditional hero is courageous, is smart, is very intelligent, and he can make many things happen in this world. he can solve many riddles, he can do this and that. But Prufrock is a very ordinary person. He is a person like you and me, and that is the beauty of modern literature. That in modern literature, any person can be the main character of writing, any sort of writing, in poetry, in novel, or in drama. So Prufrock is the main character of this poem, and he is an ordinary person. And he says over here that will I have the courage in future, time to turn back and descend the stair, with a bald spade in the middle of my hair. So he thinks that whether he will show the courage of descending the stair and going to the girl with a bald spot. He doesn't have hair on his head, so with a bald spot in the middle of my hair. So with this stature, with this physical, stature and gesture, is will he be able to impress girls? Uh, he is very confused, and we are also not confused. We are quite sure that he's not going to impress any girl, and he himself apprehends that with the bald head, and if he goes to the girl, they might say how his hair is growing thin. So those girls, or the girl might say that his hair has become thin. My morning coat, my collar mounting firmly to the chin, my necktie rich and modest by asserted by a simple pin. The dress he is wearing, he is slim, he is not healthy person. He doesn't have sound health, and he's not a smart person, and that's why his dress doesn't suit him properly. And it seems that he requires pin to make his dress adjusted with his body. And he says, they will say, but how his arms and legs are thin. So even then, when he will try to make him modest, make him smart, using pin and this and that, what the girls might say, they will say his arms and legs are thin. So he doesn't have hair on his head, so his legs and arms are thin, and he is not a smart person. He doesn't have sound health. So we can easily guess that what kind of physical stature he possesses. He possesses that kind of physical stature which is not expected to impress any girl. So proof of over here represents a modern man, any modern man. And he is, I'm telling you again and again, he is not a traditional hero. He is an anti-hero, and he doesn't have any extraordinary characteristics in him, and that's why we see that he is hesitating. Again, he says, "Do I dare disturb the universe?" So, for proof of giving a proposal to a girl or going to the girl and telling the girl something is $1 million question, though we know that it's very simple. And he says that, do I dare disturb the universe? In a minute there is time for decisions and revisions, which a minute will reverse. And he says that, well, the kind of decision I will take in a minute, then the decision might be changed and reversed in the next minute. So this idea of taking decision, this attitude of taking decision, and then again reversing the decision, shows the characteristics, shows Prufrock's attitude, shows Prufrock's indecisive nature, that he is that type of person who is never firm in taking a decision. He always hesitates, and whenever he takes decision, he has always in his mind to reverse the decision. So he always hesitates, and he is not a confident person, I'm telling you. And let's go to the next stanza. For I have known them all, already known them all, have known the evenings, mornings, afternoons. I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. I know the voices dying with a dying fall beneath the music from a further room. So how should I presume? Now, I have known them all, already known them all. Probably Prufrock thinks that he knows everything. I mean, he knows the attitude of the girls, he knows the sentiments of the girls, and he also says that he knows the evenings, mornings, and afternoons. He is not talking about days, he is talking about the fragmentation. I mean, the divided time or divided moments of the days. He's talking about evenings, he's talking about mornings, he's talking about afternoons. So these are fragmentation of the day. So Prufrock looks at life not as a whole. Prufrock looks at life as a fragmented thing. Fragmentation, this kind of division is again a characteristic of modern literature. Our life is not a complete whole. It's fragmented things, fragmented aspect. And what he says, I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. Beautiful line. What does it mean? Prufrock considers his life so meaningless. He considers his life so futile that this life is worth measuring by coffee spoon, or this life can be measured by coffee spoon. What is coffee spoon? Coffee spoon is a kind of spoon which is used to pour coffee in the milk or in the water. So how many times do you need it? You need it many times in during the day or night. And why are you trying to measure your life? Why Prufrock is trying to measure his life with coffee spoons? Because his life is so futile, his life is so meaningless, his life is so what should I say? His life is so meaningless, futile, and so short. And you can use any kind of adjective to term it. That he doesn't find anything important in this world to measure it. He doesn't find any other indicator because he doesn't have any success in his life. He cannot measure his life with power. He cannot measure his life with beauty. He cannot measure his life with any kind of materialistic achievement. He cannot measure his life with intelligence or intellectuality. He cannot measure his life with the kind of love that people usually win in their lives. So, how and with which object he will measure his life? That's why he says that I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. So, how futile his life is, that he doesn't find any indicator in his life which or any indicator which through which he can measure the significance or importance of his life. I'm repeating again that Prufrock considers his life so much meaningless, so much insignificant that he thinks that this life is suitable to be measured by coffee spoons because it is insignificant and he doesn't have any quality in his life. I know the voices dying with a dying fall beneath the music from a further room. So now again, Prufrock, goes what can I say to a kind of uh, vision or to a kind of situation that he becomes confused again. And so he says, so how should I presume? And he says that how he will start, how he will propose, how he will try to impress the girls. Now, with these indecisive things and with this sort of attitude towards life, it's really very tough for a person to think positively. When a person says that I have measured out my life with coffee spoons, we can easily gaze that the person is suffering from existentialist crisis. He has lost faith in life and he has stopped believing that there is any meaning of life. If a person believes, if a person thinks that there is meaning in life, can he say that I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. He could have used any other thing. He could have looked at life from different angles. He could think that life is worth living in this world. But Prufrock thinks that life is not worth living, and that's why it can be measured by a simple, ordinary thing like a coffee spoon, because his life is as insignificant as that. And now, uh, next stanza. And I have known the eyes already, known them all, the eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. He says that he knows the eyes, and know them all, and the eyes that fix you in a formulated phrase. And when I am formulated, sprawling on a pin, when I am pinned and wriggling on the wall, then how should I begin to spit out all the butt ends of my days and ways? And how should I presume? Beautiful stanza. I'm trying to make a kind of summary of this stanza, that he thinks that he is working on pin. Now you know what is a pin. So his life is full of pains. His life is full of sufferings, not physical sufferings. I'm talking about psychological sufferings and mental sufferings. Referring to, and he is working on pain. And not only that, he thinks, he compares himself with an insect. What kind of insect? He compares himself with an insect, and that has been trying to find an exit, and which is basically wriggling on the wall. Just think about an insect which has been pasted on the wall, and with a pin. The insect is trying to find an exit. The insect is trying to rescue itself from the pin, but it can't do it. Now, why Prufrock is comparing himself with an insect which is pasted on the wall or pinned on the wall? Because he thinks that his life is comparable to that insect. Uh, this is again no exit situation. No exit situation is that kind of situation which is, this concept is used in absurd literature and in existentialism as well. So what does it mean? In absurd literature, it is believed that people will try to exit from the pains and sufferings of their life, but virtually they will not find any exit. And a Prufrock is also caught in the psychological, caught in the existentialist crisis. He's caught in the crisis from which he cannot rescue himself. So he finds his existence to be as painful as an insect which is trying to rescue himself itself from the wall where it has been pinned. Now, is our life like that? To some extent, according to Prufrock, our life is like that. We all human beings, saying regarding this poem, that human beings, like Prufrock, they are struggling to find an exit from the sufferings they have been thrown into. What kind of sufferings they have been thrown into? They are suffering throughout their whole life. They try to find an exit, but there is no exit in life. Now, it's a difficult concept. It's absurdism. So this concept needs to be clarified again and again. So in this class, I want to conclude here, and I want to start in my next class from these lines and with this explanation of absurdism. So till my next class, I would like to tell you goodbye and stay safe. Thank you very much.